Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Demon Hunter skill video. We are now taking a look at the second skill that you get in your secondary skill tree category, which is Rapid Fire. Like I said in my previous video, that this skill was highly used when when the Diablo 3 first released, and then soon later, people found out that other skills are better. Which I have to agree. Which now I need my freaking bow back. Oh dear. Well, now I'm gonna be one-shotting everything again. That is not the bow I want. Let's see. So, basically, you shoot arrows really fast.
You won't survive that.
Rapidly fire arrows for 228% weapon damage as physical. Now, I know that my damage is around 31k. Holy sh! I should crit, and, well, actually I can just remove this since I don't need it anymore. Back to Vengeance, probably help. And I don't need that anymore. And we will use... yeah. Just steady aim. So my damage is 27k, pretty good. But I'm only doing, what is it, 3k to them per shot. Yes, 4, 5, 6k. It's because that looks like so many arrows. So every time you press this, it fires one. I cannot count that fast. It looks like 5 arrows. So each arrow doing roughly 5,000 damage. So it does 25k. Oh, right. This skill right here. Where is it? I press K. Come on. Yeah, this skill right here is what increases my. So okay, let's try that again. So 5 arrows, each one doing roughly. Enemies, where are you? Come on out. 4k, 5k, 4k. So yeah, it does pretty 4k, 5k, and it shoots roughly 5 arrows if I'm counting right at a time. Whenever you press, why did I pick this up? Whenever you press the skill, it shoots 5 arrows. So adding it together will be around 25k. See, I don't get it. Every time you press the attack, hang on, what's my attack speed? Let's see, 2.3. So we will take our damage here, which is 32,607 divided by 2.37. So I'm doing around 13k damage. So oh, I guess that is right. Okay, so when you shoot 5 times, you're doing double the damage, or a little bit more than double. Actually, it's 128% extra damage than your original. So that's pretty cool. So if you take this number and multiply it by 228, you get... okay, not 228. You're supposed to multiply it by 2.28. So how do I... so 13k roughly multiplied by 2.28, you get around, yeah, you get around 29k. So that is right. This is your DPS. It's firing quite fast, as you can see. But yeah, so that still is right. But again, if you sit down and do calculations like that to every single skill in this game, of course you're gonna find out that some skills are better, some skills are worse. But yeah, that is the skill. We wasted enough time calculating damage. Let's jump on to our next first rune, which is Withering Fire. It reduces the initial hatred cost to 5 and ignites your arrow, causing them to deal fire damage. Now originally this skill actually increases your weapon damage, but they removed that, figuring, oh my god, it's actually OP when you increase the damage. Yeah. What? You know, what tell you that? Stupid thing. So as you can see, whenever I start firing to skip firing, it actually takes a lot less hatred, which is pretty good. Which really helps you if you wanna, like, if you're being chased by something, you run away, you turn around, shoot for a little bit, run away. You know, it doesn't take a lot of hatred because you're, you know, constantly reusing the ability. If you look at the cost, it is the original cost, which is 10 hatred initially. I mean, not 10, 20 hatred initially. Which, you know, if you are being chased, you run, you shoot again, shoot again. It's gonna take a lot of hatred. With this one, you can keep doing that, and it only costs 5, which is pretty good. So one can argue that... Oh no, you can't do that. Okay, so they fixed that. That's kind of sad. So originally, you can just tap the skill, like, really fast, and it only costs 5 each time you tap it. So, but they kind of fixed that, and, you know, make it so that if you tap it really quickly, it actually is a continuous press, which costs 10 hatred per second to channel it. So originally, how I used this skill when the game first was released, I just keep tapping the button, but you can't do it anymore, because then it only costs 5 hatred per second. Yeah, so apparently they fixed that. How sad. Anyways, moving on to Webshot. This one just slows the enemy down by 80%, which you're definitely not going to see because I kill everything in one hit.
Need more time.
But the arrow does look different. Which is pretty cool. I do like teal,
Hatred to do that.
even though I prefer purple. I have got to stop picking stuff up. Alright, so that's it. You're not going to see the slow. No way for me to do that. Okay, while channeling rapid fire, launch 3 homing rockets per second. Will you stop attacking me? Thank you. Each rocket deals 35% weapon damage as physical to nearby targets. If you know simple math, you know 35 times 3 is 115, I think. No, 105. Wow. Apparently I don't know simple math. Right? 35 is 70. 70 plus 35 is 105. Yeah, okay. I don't know simple math. Heh, what do you know? I learn everything. I learn new things every day. But yeah, this is the skill that most people use since it does good DPS. You're doing 218 initial, you know, damage, and then you have 3 homing rocket, which together does 105%. So you add them all together, you get 333%. Oh, 333% weapon damage per second, which is pretty cool. This skill is what most people would use on bosses early on, but then of course people sit down and calculate stuff and figure out that other things were better. And how it looks is this, and as you can see, rockets are flying out. I'll use it on something for you, I guess. And there you go. I killed them with the rockets, which is homing. It's not very good in group fights because you can't control where the rocket goes. It's not very DPS oriented. It just hits whatever is closest to you first, which is not ideal since you're wanting to probably target down the stronger enemies first. But yeah. Next, high velocity. Fire poison arrows that have a 40% chance to pierce through targets. Now, here's a questionable thing about this ability. If it's poison arrow, I don't understand why the arrow itself is not green. It's yellow, right? Yeah, it's yellow. See? The initial fire looks green, but then once it get out here-ish, it turned yellow. Questionable why it's yellow. Yellow usually means, well, actually, yellow doesn't mean anything. Usually it's lightning, but in this game, in Diablo, lightning is usually blue. So it's questionable why it's not green, but whatever. it still looks different. That's all I care about. There you go. This one I can show you because it does pierce through most of the time. If I wish something would be strong enough to survive more than 2 shots, that would be wonderful, but there you go. I fired 2, I think, and both of them pierced through. Yeah. So it looks cool. It's good for group combat if you can, like, you know, funnel them down right here. So you just, you know, being chased, you run down this narrow corridor. I say narrow, but you know, it's a choke point, and then you wait for them all to run up, and then you fire, and then it'll pierce through most of them, hitting you know, them in a line. So it's a good ability if you're being chased by a mob of enemies. Other than that, you would rather use fire support for high DPS. Bombardment. This is also another ability that you would use for group. Rapidly fire grenades that explode for 276% weapon damage as fire to all enemies within 4-yard radius. Again, this is a good group ability. So, but this time it doesn't. You don't have to keep them in a line per se, since you're firing grenades. Even though it has pathetic AOE, it's worse than the AOE on this thing. Yeah, it's worse. So this AOE is actually a little bit bigger. This is what, 4? This one probably is 5 or 6. So horrible AOE, but it does its job. And is, again, mainly used for groups, because if you want high DPS on one target, again, bombardment would be what you use. There you go. And that is why this ability is not very much used, because it's grenades. You actually have to wait for them to land to actually do damage. So when you're being chased, you fire the enemy and then you run again. The enemy will be away from there already. So you have to aim practically right here. You know, you can't aim at a moving target with this ability. You have to take some estimates into where they're going to be in the next, well, I say 2 seconds of them, you know, of the grenades flying there. But out of just this ability, people use fire support. I've seen some use the piercing one, but not very much people use Withering, Webshot, or Bombardment for obvious reasons. Fire support is the most used, obviously, for boss fights. Yeah. So, but the thing is, this skill was very good until people found out that others were better. So when we get back, we'll take a look at Chakram.